Hi, everyone. Welcome to ATI Chronicles. Speak up, speak out, protecting your mental health as we shelter in place. We hope that you enjoyed our virtual launch last week and that you got some cool giveaways. My name is Imani Richmond, and I'm a junior at City High Middle School. Today, we have Mr. Samuel Jones joining us, and he's the lead counselor at the Wisdom Center.
Hey, Marty, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, ready to get this thing going.
Yeah. So, Mr. Jones, we received a few questions from area teens, and the first question we have is, can you explain the benefits of seeking mental health services? Because mental health has a bad rep.
Yeah. So, me being a therapist, also having seen a therapist, I think let's take a couple things into thought process here. Number one, like just because you see a therapist or just because a person
Mhm,
you know sees a therapist, it does not mean that they're crazy or that they are just severely
mhm,
mentally impaired, right? I think what can be really important about that is that mental health can be for everybody at some way, shape,
mhm,
or form. Like whether that person has kind of in fear of like what's happening with graduation, if they're gonna graduate or not, what's gonna happen, or they're exploring their sexuality in some way, shape, or form. And
mhm,
maybe even if they're just, feeling sad or blue or just angry about different things, getting therapy can really be helpful. And I think some of the benefits, of it is that, if you want to sleep better, if you want to eat better, like find ways to exercise or focus, I think that those are different things that you can do to, know that like with mental health, there's
mhm.
benefits to it. And if you really want to do better, maybe sometimes it's going to see a therapist to see what's actually happening and find ways to cope.
Yeah, I think a lot of people hear therapist and counselor and they automatically give it a negative connotation
Yeah,
and don't realize that even therapists and counselors seek other therapists and counselors.
you got it.
We have another question for you. How can teens protest and protect their mental health from the negative aspects of social media?
Yeah, like I've been on social media a long time. I feel kind of old. And so, what I found is that, being on social media, sometimes you create this like false persona and,
Mhm,
in some way you let peer pressure like kind of let it get to you at times because
mhm,
nobody wants to be on social media feeling like, oh man, like I'm not that thing. I'm not it. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And no one wants to be on there and be made fun of or like,
mhm.
especially if people know you at the school, or at your job, and they like, that's not the same person. That's not how they present themselves,
Mhm,
right? And so I think the challenges with protecting your mental health is number one, stepping up and stepping out,
mhm,
and finding ways to say, you know what, this is who I am. This is the thing that I'm experiencing. This is the thing that I'm
mhm,
working on in my life. And I don't got to let everybody else know my business, right?
mhm,
I don't got to let everybody know what's going on in my life and all of that. In fact, I can protect myself. And I think the secondary thing is like, don't step into unnecessary drama, right? You can
mhm,
protect your own life and protect your own speech and
mhm.
thoughts if you don't step into that unnecessary drama and just like, you know what, I'm gonna manage mine and I'm gonna manage what I got.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. I think a lot of people think like if somebody says something negative or you just automatically you always have to respond and that's not the
Hmm.
case sometimes.
Hmm. I agree.
How can teens cope during the pandemic?
Yeah, definitely. I think number one, I'm going to talk a little bit about this in a couple minutes, but the key piece is, when you think about coping, I always
Mhm,
tell individuals that I work with, when you think about coping, substitute that word cope and put create. And the
mhm,
reason I say put create is because you have an opportunity to engage your mind, your feelings, your emotions, different things in the way that you like to do things or haven't even explored things that you
mhm,
could do by creating. And that's literally what coping is. It's creating something in another way to do it that substitutes your kind of focus from being on the issue to being
mhm,
on the solution or being on like a wave of goodness and a wave of positivity. And,
mhm,
sometimes that may mean you outside. And while you could have been inside the house, you're like, I'm about to exercise. The governor says I can exercise, I'm going to exercise.
mhm,
That could be a way of you coping and or creating, creating ways that helps your physical health, just for an example.
mhm. Yeah, I've never really thought of coping as like being creative.
Mhm. Yeah, it can be something that like if you do it, like
Mhm.
imagine the endless possibilities that like even me and you on this call could
Mhm.
create things that make us feel better.
Do you know of any services or programs where youth can go to get help?
Yeah, definitely. Like, just the first of a couple, Network 180, who's putting on this call, right?
Mhm.
And they are like by far the one of the most known, agencies across Grand Rapids and Kent County that can really help, youth if you're dealing with an issue or dealing with a
Mhm.
problem. Therapists right there. Organizations like Arbor Circle or HQ and Bethany Christian Services. These are
Mhm.
organizations that are across the city that have therapists, ready to talk to you through telehealth. And then lastly, there's people like me. I'm in a practice with myself and my partner. And what we
Mhm.
do is we literally are in a place that we're smaller. We can engage you maybe even longer. There's not a limit to the number of sessions that we can do, but we really want to help you. And there's other therapists just like me who are in what's called private practice who really
Mhm.
want support. And I think that, Amani, what's becomes really important in this, like as we talk about like getting help and getting support, like like the key piece of, you asked me the question about coping.
Mhm.
And I think with coping, there's more to that. And so if you don't mind, I want to talk
Mhm.
about that a little bit. Is that okay? Great. So I would say like with coping, number one, it's going to be really important to, think about like, how can I control like my own anxiety about what's happening with this pandemic? I think it's important that you're talking to different people. I think it's important that you're, listening to others around you and to find out what kind of messaging is society putting out there for me, but what kind of messaging do I really want to focus on? Like, how do I really take into my thought process, like what's happening around me and what can I do about it? Do I want to just focus on the fact that I have to stay in my house, do what they tell me to do all the time, or do I want to focus on the fact that I want to explore about what this really means and maybe something I can do to support? Like, you may have the ability to, help somebody who's, suffering from this, and by sending them something with the help of your parent. It could be literally doing your own research on it and finding out that, oh, like I didn't know this about COVID-19, and this is a way that maybe, we could think about it, or I can tell others about it. Also, like with coping and thinking about this, you can think about it in a way of, like, this is actually something that is a good thing, right? It's a good thing for me to be able to have time to figure out what it is that I'm good at. Like we talked about this creative piece. And I think the thing with creation is this way, like, let's just say you're a gamer. If you're a gamer, like maybe it's not just sticking to the same old video game. Maybe it's exploring and or creating a way to figure out how to, create a game, maybe, or maybe it's, you lost out on a birthday party and you're like, well, you know what? I still want to engage with my friends, with people around me, and I want to have a Zoom party or an Instagram party, or I'm about to create the new TikTok dance, right? I'm a TikTok you, and I'm a click clock, TikTok, click clock, same thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, if you want to do something unique and different, I'm just being funny, but like do something to feel better for yourself, because your mind, your emotions, your behaviors, all those things are impacted some way, shape, or form, but you have the ability, you have the control to do something different that makes your mental health become a place of positivity and not necessarily a focus on, so much negative. And so I would just say, also be careful of like those defensive mechanisms. Like, remember that word, defensive mechanism, because not all coping is a good thing. There's a way to cope that might be negative. Like, be wary or like be self-aware of times where you feel like you're isolating or you feel like you're like withdrawing from things, because those different things can be, notices to yourself that sometimes maybe I do need to be around a parent, or sometimes maybe I do need to talk to somebody about what's happening, because I feel myself pulling away and I feel myself like not being able to connect with people. And that can often lead to like deeper depression, and that can often lead to cutting and all these different types of things that we don't want you to do. Instead, step up, step out, and find a way to talk with others. Cope meaning create. Okay? Cope meaning create. So that's some of my thoughts, Monty, on ways that you can
Mhm.
better with all this.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation today. It really made me reflect on a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, this conversation will continue next Friday, May 22nd at 1 o'clock p.m. on a Zoom call. If you are interested in joining, you can email us at kcpreventioncoalition@gmail.com. Remember, May 29th, the ATI Kent County will be holding a virtual prom at 6 o'clock p.m. on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Unfortunately, we have to end now, but we did do a post on Facebook and Instagram. Everyone that completes the survey will have their name entered to win a $25 gift card. Good luck, and we hope to see you.